How we doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we are making the worktop for the bar. So we've come up with an idea. This isn't just me, this is us collectively as a team. Come up with the idea of working with all these offcuts, machining them up into square rectangle shapes, and then cut them on the end grain and build them up into the worktop. We've done something similar to this with corks on a tabletop and then resined the tabletop, but this is going to be with the timbers. A little bit different. We don't do anything that's mainstream really as such. It's all intricate, different crafty little bits. This is the same day that Pete is working on the bar over there. He's getting the sides in. Show you a bit more about that on another video. We can link that in on this one. But yeah, so just to recap on what I'm driving at, you can see all the ends, timbers, all different colours. Some of them are painted still from where they're coated up when they go into storage. But all them ends are all going to get cut, jointed, creating a worktop. So we'll show you a bit more about that later on. I'll leave you now to watch me working away, laying these up. I'm going along, I'm setting up the newspaper, so when we come to glue up, it's already there ready, so we don't want it sticking to the back, this back timber here, to be able to break away once we've glued everything up. Right, so cut all the blocks. Well, I've cut a good few of the blocks, and I've started to just lay out the blocks and see what they're going to look like. It's a bit of a jigsaw working out where everything's going to go, so we'll play around and see what we can do. So just to let you know the different colours, there's a lot of different timbers here. So we've got Iroko. Let's find a piece of Iroko. So this is Iroko. Some nice timber. A lot of our work's done out of Iroko. Between that and oak, European oak. We've got some utility. It's similar to mahogany. Some of these larger blocks are Akoya. We have got some Digbo amongst it all. Yep, so this is some Digbo here. So the lighter timbers are tulip, or some people know it as popular. So yeah, we'll see where we get to with this. I've already seen a few potential problems, which is where the smaller blocks are going to be. Like here, we create a small little slither there that will have to be infilled. Some square pegs like this that we can fill. So yeah, we'll see where we get to. Right, I'll come back when I'm a bit further round. Right, so I'm moving forward with the worktop. All that to do yet, but I've got to go back and fill in these smaller gaps with some smaller blocks that I've still yet to cut. So it's going to take time, but it's going to look good when it's done. Morning guys, Saturday morning, and I'm back on the worktop for the bar. So I'm still in the process of setting it all up. I had set this corner up and I put an angle in there on the joint. Didn't like it, it looked rubbish. So I've taken it out. I'm going to floor this through and have the angles on the front edge and the back edge. I think that's going to look better. So I'm going to set to now, and I'm going to go through, build it up. I've still got to go back and fill all these little small sections in, and then we're going to glue up. But before we glue up, I'll fetch you back and then we'll see what it looks like. That's what we do. Right guys, so I haven't shown all of this being built up because it's long and boring, so I've kept it quite short, but you can see all of the blocks all set up, and it feeds in round that corner as well. I'll come to this end and look back. You can see where we are with that. Why I've got the spirit level on top is just to make sure that the top surface of the what's going to be the worktop is straight. So this level has been used as a straight edge. We have got a bit of movement on this first starting end of the plywood, so if you are to spy down there, you can just see a bit of a curve. So the plan is to set off at this side, glue up, and then as we're working across, add weight to this end. That'll lower that down. Keep an eye on the straight edge and see where we're heading with that. So it's just a bit of suck and see really. If I wasn't to use packers underneath the plywood and I wasn't used to prop on that end where it's off the bench, you would end up like a roller coaster, and that's what we don't want. So we want it to stay level. Right, I'm going to set off the mammoth job of gluing it. So I'm using standard D4 EVA. all glued up. That was a job. Saturday. Finished it off. We're happy with a corner down here. So there's a joint there. Well, was going to be a joint there where the angle changes. I took it apart on Saturday morning and I redid it, so I went happy with it. And then I continued to glue up from there on. So I'm going to set off sanding now and we'll see what it looks like shortly. Right, so what we're doing, I'm going to just take these fixings out on this back edge. They're going to the plywood. So this has been used as a backbone to shove everything to. So it's square straight edge. Put newspaper, always put newspaper between. I've got 2 layers of paper there, and the reason for that is that the glue won't penetrate through and stick to the 3x2 in this case. So I think I've got all the fixings out. So I'll actually give it a bit of a tap. And it should just come off. He said. There we are. There we are. And then you can see it pulling this paper off. So that'll go over the plane of that when we've got it all sanded up, and then we'll put a nice clean edge on that. So this edge is going to go up to the plywood that's in the trailer bar now that Peter and Neil are fitting. This is the corner where that panel is that you can see that was on shore. Yeah, so down to belt sanding now, see where we get to. It's going to be probably about an hour and a half of belt sanding, and I'll be able to show you the nice colours, the grains and all the different colours coming through. It's funny because Pete said it looks like an aerial view of the fields when they've been mown in summer, and I can actually see what he means by that. All right, come back shortly. see what it's going to look like all sanded up. It's all nice and smooth. There are a few gaps here there, but I'll show you how we're going to overcome that later on. So you can see where I've sanded and then where I've still to sand. Right, I'll fetch you back shortly. Right, so what we did there, we've cut a clean edge on the front face with the Festool TS55 plunge saw. Yeah, so that's a relatively clean edge. We'll clean it up a bit further, and we'll put a solid edge on the whole way down the front of there, a bit like the old-fashioned butcher's blocks. I've got a return to the cut, or the front edge to cut, the return back to cut, and then we're ready for that. I want to clean the top of it a bit further with 100 grit pad on the pad sander. Make that look a bit nicer. We've got to put some resin on there yet as well, but we'll do that probably another day. Might even do that when it's in the actual bar itself. I'll have a think about that. But that other front edge one's cutting now. I'll take this apart because we don't need this long length now. So I'll take this apart and then yeah, we don't need the extension on the track. So I'll take that apart and then we'll have a look. So that's what I'll do now. Right, that is the one. That's a track I don't use that often. This is a track I use all the time. Just have a favourite really out of the two. Don't ask me why. So we'll put this one back and have a play with that front edge. There's a number of ways I could have done that front edge. I could have used router, made a jig, straight edge jig, and then used the router. I could have put a bearing wheel in the spindle moulder and had that below to run on the plywood, and then gone around with the rebate block and put a nice clean face on that way. There's just too much weight to be moving around on the spindle moulder, and it just takes it to kick, and then you've taken a lump out of your plywood, which is your jig essentially, or something has to happen where it drops. It's just easier whilst on the bench, do all that you can on the bench, and then we can put it straight into the bar as one full unit completed. So what I've done is I've skimmed over the top with sawdust, and that fills any bits of cracks or crevices. And then we use this resin, and the resin is Wackle, and it's a resin. It's one of them. It's one of them products that makes you go home with a red face. If you know what I'm saying. I've got the mask on, but it's not really doing a lot. So yeah, this is what we've got in stock, and we use it on wood floors. It's got a rough piece of plywood that I've cut a clean edge on, and I'm just smearing the resin into place. You can see where I've been, and it's drying, and where I've not just been yet. So the way I do it, probably not the right way, but it's the way I do it. Pour a section on, like so, and then smear it out to cover all the areas. This sets, so this is essentially like a glue, and this sets all the surfaces, all the sawdust, all them bits and bobs, and makes it look brilliant. And then we'll sand this tomorrow with a belt sander for something like 100 grit, 120 grit, and then we'll see what it looks like after that. It might need this again, it might be alright. The gaps were only hairline really, they weren't massive at all. Sometimes on wood floors, especially old ones, that's stinky as that stuff. Like parquet flooring, you can get some decent gaps that you need to fill, so that you empty the sander bag over the floor and you rub it into the joints, and you go over with this resin, and it just cures all them edges, all them bits and bobs with the sawdust in. You can see this timber is what I've had in the racks for years. It's been off cuts that I've had. Might be up to when I first started. This is like 20 years ago. Also, it's some of the I dig ball has definitely been in here since the start, because I actually remember the first job, one of the first jobs I did, and it was an I dig ball job. A house with windows and doors for a woman who we'd done quite a bit of work for. We've done quite a bit of work for over the years. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. Multitasking is not my strong point. Even that I gathered. So, just trying to make sure that I've no dry areas that I've missed. Because what happens if you've got dry areas and the sawdust hasn't been caught, the oil catches it and drags it all over the surface, and then you just got a mess to tidy up. So, you can see where it's drying now. So it takes on like a white sort of finish. This is only what's sat on the surface. The bit I'm interested in is the bit that's gone into the cracks and sealed all that sawdust between the blocks and yeah, all the bits that we couldn't catch when we were gluing up. It was a long job gluing up. It was a long job. Right, it's going off that, so that's going to work overnight, and we're going to do some editing, and we'll see what happens after that. End of the day. Yes, it's cold this morning. The bob hat's on. So I just thought I'd show you the bar top. So it's finished, oiled with Danish oil, and it looks good. sink over there, upstands on, copper tiles as a splashback. Looks good. Well guys, we've come to the end of the video. If you like the video, please like and subscribe and ring the little bell if you want the notification of our next video. And yeah, there it is. Right guys, see you on the next one. Bye for now.